All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Crew Show with a little 49er video. Well, a lot of the moves have already come and gone, right? Free agency started and ended, and you had the draft come and go, and then you had undrafted free agents who signed after that. And there was a smattering of free agents that signed even after that. And for the most part, I would say 90 to 95% of the transactions are done. But are the Niners still going to add a veteran piece or two to their roster before training camp begins at the end of July? We'll discuss that coming up next. First, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go get some brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. And this video is also brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove along the Monterey Peninsula. Give my friend Anthony Catania a call down there at 831-521-5264 for all your sports cards and sports collectible needs. Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. All right, let's talk some Niners. Let's talk some 49er football here. The draft has come and gone, and free agency has come and gone. And most of the top free agents were kind of, signed up right at the start of the new league year in March. But there's still some good free agents available. And when you look closely at the Niners situation and you say, okay, well, here we are, it's June the 20th. What do the 49ers really need to add to their roster? I mean, what are they in need of? And I think if you look at them, they're pretty deep throughout. I mean, if we take a quick perusal of the 49er roster top to bottom, okay, they have a bunch of wide receivers, right? Pearsall, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Ronnie Bell, Jawan Jennings, Jacob Cowan, Chris Conley, Danny Gray, Trent Taylor, Owens Kid, Big Play, Tay Martin. I mean, they got a lot of receivers. And then they added to their depth on the offensive line, though a lot of people still think they could use a big-time player, both interior and a tackle. But they added Dominic Pooney. They signed Chris Hubbard, the veteran. They signed Brandon Parker, the veteran. They drafted Jarrett Kingston. And then after the draft, they signed Bryson Mays and Drake Nugent. So they've added 4 rookies. They've added a couple veterans. They've improved their depth there. So they're pretty deep along the offensive line, even though if they don't necessarily have what they want. Now they're deeper at tight end than they were a few weeks ago because they added Logan Thomas to George Kittle, Braden Willis, Cam Latu, Eric Saubert, Mason Pline, who I really like a lot, Jake Tungs. So they're pretty deep at tight end, even though, they could definitely use a big time proven player there if they could find one. They're very deep at quarterback, you would think, right? Brock Purdy plays every game, and then they got Josh Dobbs, they got Brandon Allen. I kind of like what I've seen out of Tanner Mordecai, the rookie from Wisconsin. So they look pretty deep there. They're very deep at running back. Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, Isaac Guerrero, Patrick Taylor, Jordan Mason, Cody Schrader, Kyle Juszczyk at fullback. Not all those guys can make the roster. That's going to be intensely competitive. So and then you look at on the other side of the ball. I mean, the Niners have their specialists, right? Wishnowski's their established punter, and Jake Moody is entering his second year as the kicker. Pepper's the long snapper. They've got depth at linebacker with Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner. Greenlaw's hurt, but now you've added Devondre Campbell. You got Flanagan Fowles. You signed Ezekiel Turner. You got D. Winters. There's Tatum Bethune. There's Jalen Graham. There's Curtis Robinson. I mean, they got a lot of linebackers. And they're really deep on the corner as well. I mean, you think about most teams go 5 deep at corner. The Niners have Mooney Ward, and they have Amador Lenore, and then Renardo Green, the second-round pick. That's 3 right there. Ambry Thomas is 4. Isaac Yadam, who was terrific last year with the Saints, is 5. Samuel Womack is 6. And then you've got Darrell Luter, who's 7. Chase Lucas, who was signed as a free agent, is 8. Rock Ya-Sin is a veteran corner who's been in this league for a while. He's 9. So, I mean, if everybody's healthy, in a spot where they can go with like 5 or 6 corners, they got 9. They got 9 corners. So what do the Niners, if they still needed to add anything, where could they add pieces? Well, the 2 spots that look a little vulnerable, to be honest, are safety and defensive end. Let's go through those spots, and then we'll talk a little bit about who's still left in the market. So at safety right now, the Niners are hoping Talanoa Hufanga bounces back off the ACL. Jair Brown enters his second year, should be quite a bit better. They really love what they're seeing out of Malik Mustafa. George Odom is a Pro Bowl special teamer. They usually go with 4 safeties, and that could be their 4 right there. They also have Jalen Mahoney, a rookie out of Vandy. They got Taylor Hawkins, who's a young player out of San Diego State, and Eric Harris, who's more of a practice squad player, kind of a street, off the street veteran, good guy, but more of a, bottom of the roster kind of a guy. So if Hufanga's healthy, they're probably deep enough, right? Hufanga, Brown, Mustafa, Odom, those are their 4 starters. They're probably going to go with 4. Renardo Green might be able to play free safety in a pinch. Okay, so that's one spot. But there's a lot of talk that Hufanga's not going to be ready for week 1 and that he may not be ready for the first month of the year. And I don't know. It's all speculation at this point. But if that is indeed the case, he was hurt in November. He tore the ACL in November. If it's a year-long recovery, he should be ready in November. I think the recovery is going very, very well, and he'll be ready before November. But there's a very good chance he's not ready week 1. And the Niners have a tough schedule. And if they're going to want to go to the Super Bowl, they're going to want to have home field. If you want to have home field, only the team with the best record in the conference gets home field, so you want to start fast. So they're a little thin at safety, especially if Hufanga is sidelined to begin the first month of the year. And then at defensive line, they said goodbye to Armstead. They added Malik Collins. They have Javon Hargrave. We're talking about defensive tackle now. You also have Kevin Givens, Jordan Elliott, Kalia Davis, T.Y. McGill, Shaquille Brown, the rookie Evan Anderson out of Florida Atlantic, who they gave $380,000 guaranteed to sign as an undrafted free agent. He was their prize pluck of the undrafted college free agent market this year. They threw tons of money at him to get him to sign over signing elsewhere. So they obviously like Evan Anderson quite a bit. So they're pretty deep at defensive tackle. Let's see, that's 2, 4, 6. They got 8 defensive tackles. They're probably going to go with 5. The 5 are going to be Malik Collins, Javon Hargrave, Jordan Elliott, Kevin Givens, and then 1 between Kalia Davis, T.Y. McGill, Shaquille Brown, and Evan Anderson. So they're pretty deep at defensive tackle, and that's a good spot for them. But defensive end, I think they've got the best starting tandem they've ever had under Shanahan with Leonard Floyd and Nick Bosa. And then I expect Yatir Gross-Matos to play a lot on first and second down in front of Floyd and try to save Floyd for key third downs and key pass rushing downs. But after that, it becomes a huge question. What's Drake Jackson, their second-round pick in 2022? How's he rehabbing from the knee injury? How about Robert Beal? What's he going to contribute? Is Austin Bryant going to contribute? Alex Barrett or really anybody else have any ability to contribute? They look a little thin there because I don't know that you can bank on Jackson. I don't think you can bank on Beal. I don't think you can bank on Austin Bryant. So really you've got Floyd and Bosa and Gross-Matos. And you definitely need at least 4 defensive ends. You probably need 5. The Niners usually go with 10 defensive linemen, 5 defensive tackles, 5 defensive ends. They've got 3 in Bosa, Floyd, and Yatir Gross-Matos. 5 if Drake Jackson and Robert Beal play, terrific football, and that could happen. But it's also, possible that those guys don't do a whole lot and, don't give you a whole lot. So, this is where the 49ers are going into this month of, July, which is about 10 days away. But if you're a team in need of an edge rusher, you can find one on the market right now. Let's talk about that. There are several established defensive ends on the market. Yannick Ngakoue, he's out there. He's been a productive player since he came out of Maryland. 4-3 defensive end, can go hunt the quarterback. Carl Lawson was a really good player in the SEC. He's had some injuries, but Carl Lawson can still hunt quarterbacks. He's a little long in the tooth, but Jerry Hughes can still hunt quarterbacks. Tyus Bowser is out there. Shaq Lawson, the former Clemson Tiger, Emmanuel Ogba from Oak State, who's had a decent NFL career. All of those guys that I just named there have had at least 1 year in the NFL where they had 6 or more sacks in the last 5 years. Over the last 5 years, every single one of those guys has had a year where they had 6 sacks or more. So all those guys could help. So if you suddenly don't believe in Drake Jackson, or suddenly you're nervous about Robert Beal, or don't think you have enough depth, the Niners have, enough cap room to go sign a veteran edge rusher. Ngakwe, Lawson, Jerry Hughes, Tyus Bowser, Shaq Lawson, Emmanuel Ogba, they're all out there on the street. They're all available right now. So all those guys could be potential signings. Safety is also, it's it's the Niners' thinnest spot, but there's still lots of good safeties on the free agent market. And the guy that stands out is Justin Simmons. He's one of the best overall free agents left to be signed at any position. He's a 30-year-old. He's a Pro Bowl player. This guy was a Pro Bowl player last year. I mean, it's a really good safety. And he's also third year in a row, he's been a second team All-Pro. So Justin Simmons is a really good football player. And, if they want to go sign him, they can. Other potential targets in the free agent market at safety, veteran Eddie Jackson, he's out there. Micah Hyde's still out there. The former Seahawks, Quandre Diggs and Jamal Adams are both out there. A lot of people like Adams more as a weak side linebacker than a strong safety, and the Ravens are hot on his trail. But the Niners have shown interest in Adams. Diggs is interesting as well. Diggs has probably got more left than Adams, and I really like him as a player. But so you got 2 spots really where the 49ers are maybe one man shy, and it's defensive end and it's safety. And yet, if you look at the free agent market right now, there's a handful of good defensive ends and there's a handful of good safeties. And I'd even mention Budda Baker, but, Budda Baker of the Cardinals, they're saying might be traded. He's a terrific player, absolutely terrific player. I don't know if the Niners could afford him, but if, I'd be all, you want me to vote on thumbs up or thumbs down on Budda Baker? Thumbs up, and I'll vote for George Kittle as well. He says thumbs up. Budda Baker's a star. And if he's gettable, that would be interesting. And then, of course, there's a bunch of guys that are younger, under the radar, that are known commodities to pro personnel directors and college personnel directors, but maybe aren't necessarily, household names to the fans. So I'll spare you some of those names. But, just to avoid doing the deepest of deep dives. But that's it. Are the Niners set to try to go back to the Super Bowl and win it? They pretty much are. If you said to me, if you were trying to guess along with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, what would they like to add? My guess is they would love to add, they'd love Drake Jackson and Robert Beal to actually play and play well. And they'd love for Hufanga to be healthy, fully healthy early, and not need to add any players. But if Beal and Jackson are unknowns, I think of that group of defensive ends, I'd probably go after Carl Lawson. To me, he's the guy who, the combination of the price tag should be reasonable. The production's pretty good, pretty consistent edge rusher. As long as he's, passes the physical. He's been in the league a number of years. Guys' bodies get beaten up. But if he passes his physical, I'd be very interested in Carl Lawson. And at safety, man, if I got extra room, I'd go sign Justin Simmons. Why not? And all of a sudden you look at safety and you're like, okay, Hufanga, don't rush back. Get back whenever you're ready. And, the Niners don't have to force feed Malik Mustafa onto the field in a year they're trying to win the Super Bowl. And they don't have to try to play George Odom, who's really more of a special teams ace. They don't have to play him from scrimmage. And if you look at the depth there, Jalen Mahoney is an undrafted free agent, moderate level physical ability. Taylor Hawkins was a good corner at San Diego State. He's kind of a practice squad guy. Eric Harris most definitely is a practice squad guy. So what do you really have? You've got three safeties that can play from scrimmage right now. Hufanga, who's hurt, coming off an injury. Jair Brown, who just told us that his body's still not fully recovered from last year for how much football he played last year. And then Mustafa, who's a rookie stepping off of Wake Forest's campus into the NFL. And then you got George Odom, but he's a special teamer. He's really not a guy you want to play from scrimmage if you can avoid it. So you've got, normally you go with 4 safeties, maybe 5, and you've got 4 right there, but one of them is already hurt. And it's a highly physical position where guys do get hurt. So I guess if I were the 49ers and you said, are the Niners going to add anything to their mix? I'd go add Justin Simmons right now. I mean, Simmons would be the guy that I'd sign. Simmons would be my number 1 target. I think Carl Lawson might be my number 2 target. But I think they're inside their Super Bowl window. They may be a player or 2 away from, getting back there and getting that 6th Lombardi for their Santa Clara trophy case. But they're a little thin at safety, and Justin Simmons would help. They're a little thin at edge rusher, and Carl Lawson would help. Give me your thoughts on the video below. We definitely want to hear from you guys. What do you think? Should the Niners sign Justin Simmons? Should they use some of their cap room to sign Justin Simmons and Carl Lawson? Or do you like what the Niners have at this point with training camp roughly a month away? Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.